Hello, everyone. Hi, welcome. Welcome to another live. I been feeling called to get on here more and more live recently, so here I am again. Hello, everyone. Can you just let me know if you can hear me? Just say yes, just so I know my volume's working. Good morning. Yes. Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Welcome in. Welcome to another live. I was going to have the video the other way so you could see the beautiful trees and mountains and green, but the lighting is not the greatest. So we've got Saint Germain, the I Am Presence and Higher Self, Kuan Yin, roses. Okay, so this is not going to be a long live, but I wanted to get on live because I love the energy live. It's so much more fun than doing a recorded video. So I wanted to share a message from a different perspective on how to view our now moments and how these now moments are always moving us to the next highest version of us, and how we hold the now moment with surrender, with trust, without a need to figure out why, or victim mentality, or this isn't where I'm supposed to be, right? This idea that where you are is not divinely designed, and that you are not this notion that you're missing out or you may not be moving into the next highest version of you. None of that is true. And a member of my Patreon community asked me this question this morning, which prompted this message. And her question was basically, how do we trust that our now moment, where we're at, is always happening for a reason? And also at the same time intending, or what she called manifesting, the next version of us, right? Or where we're going, the stepping into aspect. How do we hold both of those? Which is a great question. And it reminded me of a really beautiful perspective to share with all of you. So here's what I want you to remember, and here's the perspective that you can practice holding if it resonates. So we are quantum beings. What does that mean? It means that we are not just experiencing this now moment, that there are aspects of us that designed and created this now moment that we're in, whether we're conscious of it or not. So you can visualize it as a past aspect of you or a now aspect of you that you have shifted out of. And there are versions and aspects of you that are future or in a higher vibration. So because we are always shifting frequencies into the next highest frequency, whether you believe yourself to be or not, based on what you are experiencing in your reality, meaning if you experienced yourself in much greater states of happiness 3 years ago, and now you find yourself more depressed and more angry, that doesn't mean that you didn't shift into a higher frequency. What that means is that in this version of you, in a past version of you, which is a now version of you, you were in an absolute lower frequency, no matter what, than the frequency you're in now if you're consciously ascending. That is how the ascension process works, regardless of whether what you're seeing you believe as being in a higher frequency. The progression of ascension is constantly shifting into higher frequencies. Your physical form is doing that, regardless of what your ego and personality believe or perceived to be experiencing, which is why when we are experiencing the ascension journey and we find ourselves in these lower density consciousnesses, depression, traumas, fears, anger, resentments, whatever that is, we tell ourselves that we're in a lower frequency. That just absolutely is not true. You're experiencing lower frequencies. You are not in a lower frequency. So when you start to understand two things, the ascension process and the quantum field, you understand that no matter what is in your now, you are naturally, unequivocally, without argument, shifting frequencies. Part of the shifting frequency that we have been experiencing as of late is the density clearing out, which we may not have been experiencing 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago or past aspects of us. And so we were in these kind of like almost numbed out states where things were just really awesome and cool and like things just worked, right? We didn't have to separate from people. We didn't have to look at our crap. We were very just kind of like skipping along, right? For some of us. It wasn't because you were in a higher frequency. It was because you weren't quite yet at a frequency that was pushing the density through, right? Now you're at a frequency that is high enough that the lower densities are being pushed through. So you can't necessarily experience these really awesome highs all the time because your body's working to clear the density out. So what does this have to do with now moment, right? And understanding the future selves of you, the future aspects of you that are always in a higher vibration, no matter what. You are always, from the higher self perspective, whether you are conscious of it or unconscious, you are always creating and designing the next highest version of you. If you do it consciously, it's a lot more fun, right? But many of us are doing it unconsciously. And so what does that mean? It means that a version of you 6 months ago or a year ago intended and created this now moment. And it could be an intention that because we live in a time-space continuum that is slow, so time slows down, the intention that you may have created for another aspect of you to be experienced, it may have taken 6 months, it may have taken 1 year, it may take 2 years, right? But you are now in a version of you that was intended and created by another version of you in a lower frequency that is still in a now moment, just in a past now moment. So where you are right now is designed by you. It's created by you. Your higher self. So sometimes, if you imagine having a child, right? Sometimes the child has to go through not so fun things because they're growing and you know that it's for their best, right? So if they get in trouble and they get grounded or whatever may happen, that's not a permanent experience they're going to have. You know, as an adult, as a parent, that this is grooming them to become the adult that you visualize them to be. So you are grooming them, you're teaching them. And sometimes those teachings aren't necessarily fun, right? Sometimes the teachings are painful or sad or whatever they may be, the gamut, right? So you, as a version of you in every now moment, the higher self is the teacher, is the parent, and is always intending and creating for you to step into that next highest version of you, which in a quantum space is already there. So you don't miss out on anything. You're not in a place where you're not supposed to be. And everything that you're intending and creating is great. Whether it pans out in the way that your energetic vibration is visualizing it to be or not shouldn't matter. Meaning that if you know from a higher perspective, which is the higher self, that you are always moving into the next highest version of you that is for the best you, then you can intend to have a different job, more money, a different relationship, whatever it is. But that's the ego personality creating, right? That's the ego personality designing and intending. The higher self is just going to shift you into the next frequency. And however that unfolds in your reality through free will is how it's going to unfold. So when the higher self is continuing to move you into the next highest frequency, providing opportunity and experience, it doesn't care what that looks like. The ego personality cares what it looks like. So it will intend or manifest specific things, right? Outcomes, whatever it may be, which is great. Sometimes they play out and sometimes they don't. But if you understand how this works, that no matter what, and I do it like this because even when you're in a quantum space, you're also in a three-dimensional field, which means that you're still going to experience your now moments in time-space continuum in a slow version, even though you're also in a quantum space where everything is happening in the now, and you're starting to see with your third eye aspects of you in the past, which are the now, aspects of you in the future, which are the now, all occurring in this right now moment. And all you're doing is being as surrendered and trusting and available and open to the now, because you know that there's an aspect of you that designed and created this, whatever it is you're experiencing. And whatever it is that you're intending and creating right now through the higher self, you will be walking into. This is a perspective that's real. This is a perspective that's occurring. This is a perspective to begin to look at. See, we've been in a third dimensional field for so long. We've been so blinded by the density that we forget how this works. We forgot, right? Makes sense. We're dense. So as we start to awaken and shift into higher frequency, we start to realize, oh my God, nothing is happening to me that I didn't design and create from some other perspective of me. I am not a victim. Nobody's doing anything to me. From the higher self's perspective, if you are in torment and torture and struggle and suffering, there is an aspect of you, the higher self, that is pushing you, birthing you through it. It's not bad. It's not good. It just is you experiencing the now moment to move you into the next now, which is always a higher version of you. So you don't look at frequency in terms of how your reality looks. Because what the human likes to do is say, well, I'm only going to acknowledge the frequency that I'm holding when I'm experiencing something high vibe, right? Then I'm going to be like, oh my God, I'm expanding, I'm ascending, this is fabulous. But if I dare experience something that is low vibe, then that means, first of all, I'm not going to acknowledge it, right? And I'm going to judge it and say that I'm not ascending and I'm not doing this correctly. And there's something wrong with me. I need to shift out of this. I need to fix this. All of it is you ascending. All of it is you holding higher frequencies. All of it. It's impossible not to. Because you're on the choo-choo train of ascension. You're on that belt in the airport of ascension, which is, no matter what is occurring, I am constantly shifting, no matter what it looks like. And in fact, the more intense and dark it gets, the better for you, because you're going to be shifting like exponentially, right? Like, wow. Many of us have had those moments or times or dark nights of the souls or, severe kind of breakdowns. We needed them. We needed them, right? It's like watching your child have their first heartbreak. You got to have the heartbreak. You can't deny or pretend or try to skip around your first heartbreak. It's how you love, right? You have to have the heartbreak to continue to have the love. It's both. And there's nothing wrong with the heartbreak, right? It doesn't feel as good as the love when you're in love, but it's just as powerful and just as important. It's just as real. It's just as important. It's just as valid. And so too is everything we're experiencing right now. So getting back to her question, how do you hold it and know that everything is happening for a reason? Because it is, because you designed it, because you created it from a different version of you, because your higher self created this for you to be in this now, only to move you into the next highest version. And then onward and onward. Nothing is stagnant. It's all energy. It's all consciousness, and you're always shifting. Are there days where you're going to feel more of a really aligned, connected state? Absolutely. And days where you're not? Absolutely. But does that mean that you are not always shifting into the next highest version? No. It means something's moving out of you. Let it move. That's it, right? We try not to judge it, attach to it. And so if you hold that perspective, if you hold that knowingness, then your now moments, you can surrender into them a little bit easier, right? You can relax into them a little bit easier. You won't have this sense of trying to control it, fix it, or figure out why. We always want to know, why is this happening? Why is this happening? What if you took the perspective of the higher self and you said, this is happening because I designed it at some other now moment that I don't consciously remember yet. Trust me, there will be a frequency that will hold where we will actually be able to feel all these aspects of us in one unison vibration and frequency and see how it all works. But until then, we might not remember the now moment in a past experience, an aspect of us that moved us straight into this. But many of you can think back to a year ago and recognize that where you are now is an intention that you had set a year ago. I do it all the time. I'll stop myself and say, wait a second, I intended this a year ago. Not everything that I intended has come into fruition, and it didn't come into fruition. It isn't experienced in my now the way I necessarily saw it, but there are aspects of a previous now of me that intended where I am right now. So we don't want to stay stuck on, well, I asked for this, and how come this didn't show up? Why are my manifestations not working? Because you're coming from the ego. You're coming from the personality, which is disconnected from energy, consciousness, and the quantum space, the quantum field. When you step into the remembrance and the knowingness of how the quantum field works, how you work as a quantum being, you let go of any control. It makes no sense to control anything. And at the same time, you are always intending and always knowing that you're moving into the next version of you while you stay extremely present in the now. So you're doing both. You're surrendering to your now without trying to figure out why. Why is this happening to me? Why am I having to leave my boyfriend or girlfriend? Why am I getting a divorce? Why am I losing my job? What if instead of saying why, you remembered, wait a second, there must have been an aspect of me from another previous past now moment that I'm moving through right now to get me to wherever I'm going, which I don't necessarily remember yet. The problem sometimes is that we don't remember because it's the higher self version of us, and many of us aren't yet completely aligned with that aspect of us, which is okay. It's part of the ascension process. Realigning and reconnecting completely with the higher self will allow us to know all of this. It will allow us to trust the higher self way more than the ego. Way more than the ego. And it's not even a necessity that you have to hear the higher self, right? It's this understanding that there is an aspect of you that is in a much higher vibration than the ego, personality, and 3D form. And that aspect of you is what is moving you. Who am I, the ego, personality, the Lori, to try to detour where I am naturally being asked to go? Which means if something devastating is occurring in my now, if something is popping up in my field that is making me feel out of control, uncomfortable, creating some sort of massive shift in my life, can I remember that everything is happening for me, by me, from me, to move me into something that I may not see, feel, hear, or understand yet, but as long as I hold that, I will surrender into it. What happens a lot of times is that we fight against that which we are being asked to flow into. We fight it because it doesn't seem like it's the right thing. It doesn't seem like it's the right time. It doesn't seem like you have the courage to do it. It doesn't seem like you know how to do it. It doesn't seem like it doesn't make any sense, right? We can think of all these rational reasons as to why whatever's occurring may not be correct or right or whatever that is. But the more you let go of that construct, the egoic structure that's trying to control this, the more you will know that you're safe, know that whatever's happening has nothing to do with your frequency. It has nothing to do with the fact that you're not ascending, and it has everything to do with the fact you are ascending in every now moment, always. Always. And we just keep saying, okay, we just keep saying yes. We just keep saying this may suck, but I'm saying yes because I know that I designed this. When people say we're creator beings, that means that we create everything. Free will beings means that we choose in everything. Every now moment is a choice. Every experience we have is a choice and a creation from us. Everything. And the more conscious we become, the more we recognize that we designed this from some other aspect, guiding us and pushing us to this now. And all we have to do is just keep going. We got this far, we're going to keep going, right? But this time that we've been in has been this tumultuous, like, washing machine kind of feeling, this spin cycle. But it's all perfect. So whatever is coming in, being experienced, being let go, whatever that is that's happening now, right? From a quantum perspective, it's divine and it's pushing you into the next now, which is going to continue to right? So we don't want to resist it. We just want to surrender into it and say, okay, let's go, bring it on. And then you're holding the reality, you're holding the knowingness that you're always moving into the next frequency. And you can have fun with that and say, okay, what do I want that to look like, right? Because that's a little bit of an ego piece, right? And we have an ego, and the ego is beautiful. The ego does a lot of great things for us. So it's like, oh my God, in 6 months, I want this. I want to be this. I want to be this. I want to have this. That's great. That's fine. Go ahead. It's part of playing in this realm, right? But don't hold it, and don't beat yourself up if 6 months from now that isn't in your now. Everything is divinely being given to you in exactly the perfect time for you based on your frequency and based on what you can hold. And the more you surrender and let go of the ego, trying to hold any of it, the more you will get even more than what you intended. It's always bigger or more expansive than how you designed it in a previous now, in a past version of you. It's always more. Always. When you start staying present in the quantum field and you start surrendering and knowing that you're not in control, meaning your ego personality, then you start recognizing that which you designed and intended 2 years ago has exceeded your expectations in this now. And it will continue to. It will be miraculous what you will be experiencing yourself as with all of that. You can't even conceptualize in this frequency and in this now what you're going to be experiencing, but you can play, you can design, you can try, right? Meaning that you are holding this version of you that you are intending to step into without holding it. So go ahead and try to design it, but you also know that the higher self is just going to continue to move you and shift you with the physical form as well. And as you, as the ego personality, continue to hold that which you're creating without an expectation, without attachment, meaning it may or may not occur. I don't care. All I know is that which is for my highest good is what's going to show up. Then you are allowing yourself to step into something that you may not have even realized you're going to be stepping into when you are in that frequency. So if you hold this like, this is what I'm creating, this is what I want, this is exactly what I want it to look like, and this is it, right? Structured, linear, in a box, this is it. Then you're going to be so tunnel visioned that when you're in that frequency that the higher self and the body is bringing you into, you may literally miss the energetic pop-up that may be something so much bigger and expansive, because all you're doing is focusing on, this is what I want, this is what I'm manifesting, this is what I'm creating, this is what I'm designing, this is it, this is it, this is it. A lot of times when we get stuck in this manifestation phase that we're in, this paradigm of manifesting, we create a lot of struggle and suffering because it allows the human to not want to be in their now. And the now is the most precious gift you have because you designed it. Why not devour the now? You created it. It's a present from your past. Now, love it, honor it, Why would you want to do or be anywhere else other than your now that you designed and created, knowing that this now is the most amazing, precious gift because it's going to bring you into the next highest aspect of you, and then onward and onward and onward. But when we get into this idea of manifesting, you can manifest anything you want, blah, blah, blah. You're missing the point of the quantum field. You've already designed whatever it is for your highest good. You just aren't there yet because you have to slowly shift because we live in a very elongated time-space continuum. So the more you surrender to your now, knowing that it's a gift, even in the uncomfortableness, even in the I don't want this though. Lori, I don't want to be in this job. Lori, I don't want this relationship. I don't want, great, fabulous. Guess what? That means you are most likely shifting out of it at some other now moment. If your resonance is that this doesn't feel good anymore, then most likely you will be shifting out of it as you continue to shift. So what a gift to be in now, feeling and knowing that this is no longer going to be your reality in another now. You just don't know when that now is, and you have to be okay with that. When you try to force and manifest into something, you're trying to go against the flow. That's what flow is. Surrender and flow is allowing yourself to be only present with what is, with all its perfection and imperfection. Knowing that if there is a dissonance, if there is something that is no longer resonating, then you have to trust and know that you will be shifting into something that is different than where you are. And so here comes the balance between present moment, staying and knowing, and intending. So then you begin to know and hold and remember that you are a divine creator being with free will, and you're going to start to step into the version of you in a future now, which is a now right now, that's already existing, that will have the career or the job or the partner that resonates. So you're not trying to squeeze out of it, push out of it, move out of it. You're staying utterly present, honoring this dissonance that you're feeling. Thank God you have that. Knowing that you have to have that knowingness. I know that this is not stagnant. I know this is not forever. I know I will be shifting. I am opening myself up to this flow of shifting into something else. Instead of, I don't like this, I'm closed off, I need to create and manifest in this linear way, this is how it needs to be, this is how it needs to look, this is what I'm focusing on, and where I am isn't good. Where I am is not good. Where I am, I don't like, right? No, where you want to do is, oh my God, what a gift. Thank God I'm moving out of this. I don't know how long it's going to take because I live in a time-space continuum that is 3D, so things could take very long, or maybe it'll speed up. Hopefully, cross my fingers, it speeds up. But I'm present. I'm in this now. I'm grateful that I'm shifting. Thank God I'm going to be having some other career, some other relationship, some other financial situation coming, right? I always know that because I'm always shifting into the next highest version of me. And the only way I got here was because I created it from some other past. So now I'm going to hold this intention and knowingness that I am stepping into that, not holding it tightly, but I know that I'm stepping into it. It's how this field works. It's how the quantum space works. It's how your multidimensionality works. This is how it works. You stay present with the same, and at the same time, you know that you're always shifting into the next now, and that you are intending and holding that version. And when you step into that next now, and the next now, and the next now, you'd have no expectation of that next now. The reason this is so challenging for us is because we are so dense right now. And it takes a while, right? When you are in a 5D field, so the body's in a 5D field, you are vibrating in a 5D consciousness, intention happens instantaneously because there's no stretching of time. So the intention is you hold a knowingness, you know the energy and vibration of that knowingness, and then it turns into a reality. That's how humans are formed in 5D. So when there's a 5D human and a 5D human millions of years ago, they intended and created another baby by intention and energy. They didn't have to actually penetrate and create it physically the way we do now. And that is how everything is intended and created in a 5D field and beyond, is you intended with your consciousness, and you attach that intention with an energy and a frequency. And based on what that energy and frequency is, it literally creates a form or creates a reality. Very challenging for us to understand, because one, very few of us have seen this unless you've had miracles in your life literally overnight, which more people are experiencing, right? Or you've been in that 5D field, that 5D human form, you've seen it. You're remembering. I remember back then, millions of years ago, when I was in a 5D form on Lemuria or Atlantis or any other civilization, right? I remember that's how we created babies. We actually didn't penetrate in the same physical way that we do now, which is very slow and very dense and very chaotic almost, right? So what's also going to happen is you're going to start to see more miracles happen, and miracles are just intention and energy creating form. So health miracles, right? Things like the doctor's like, I saw that and it was there on the screen and you're coming back and it's gone. Well, you held the intention that it was healed. You tapped into the frequency of that healed, of that energy healed, right? And then it literally turned into and created that reality. That's also how the physical form was created. That's how Earth, her form was created. But it can happen instantaneously from a higher perspective, a higher dimensional field. It happens slow as molasses in ours, which is why we get frustrated, okay? So we don't like to feel that which is uncomfortable. So we've got a lot of things against us as we're ascending. But the point of this message was and is knowing that your higher self, a past version of you, which is also just another version of you in another timeline, created the now you're in. And that no matter what your reality looks like and what you're experiencing and how you're experiencing it, it was designed by you in a lower frequency, and you're actually in a higher frequency than you were then. And you're going to continue to shift. And there's not much that you need to do other than surrendering into each now, knowing who you are, knowing that you're in the quantum field, knowing that your higher self has got you. My higher self has me. So whatever's going on right now, I know that I'm okay. And then you, as ego personality, you begin to hold the intention and knowingness of where you're moving, where you're stepping into. Wow, I can't wait. I'm so excited. Joy and excitement will shift you faster than anything else, right? So you stay present, surrendering into the now, but then you get excited about what's coming. My God, I can't wait. But you're present, you're in the now, but then you get excited instead of like, fuck, I hate this. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be in this. I don't want to. You're already in something else. So stop like moaning in the now. The now is only now until it's something else, and then it's another now. So when you get kind of like tunnel vision into this sucks, I hate this, how did this happen? This is not what I want, blah, blah, blah. When you get into that hamster wheel, you're losing the perspective of the quantum and who you are as a creator being. Find yourself in joy and excitement. Excitement is a master technique for allowing you to move a little bit quicker, right? Remember, it's choice and free will. It's choice and free will. So you don't want to force it, but you also want to get excited about it. This is so exciting. I can't wait. I don't know when it's coming. Everything I intend, whether I actually step into it or not in the way that I visualize, it's 99% of the time, it's always bigger and better and more expanded than what I imagined. It never looks like the way I imagined it to look. Right? So I held the intention of it, but then I held the frequency around it, and then I allowed myself to just shift into it whenever that was. And what I do when I intend is I know that wherever I'm at, that is allowing me to move into it. Whatever's happening in my now, that is the gift of allowing me to step into that which I'm intending. It's the gift. I have to stay present with it. I can't I can't manipulate or maneuver or try to do this in a way that my ego thinks I'm supposed to be doing it. I just hold the joy and excitement of it. That's it. And then whatever's in my now, I devour in that now. Always holding the intention of where I know I'm going, where I know I'm being, where I know I already am. I already know that I'm on a stage speaking to thousands of people about my book. I already know that. I don't have to create that. I don't have to make that happen. I'm already doing it. I see it. I feel it. I know it. It's me there. I'm just not there yet. So I trust that everything that is occurring in my now is going to shift me into that. I don't have to worry about it. My next relationship, I know it's coming. I don't have to worry about when. I know it's coming. I know there's a version of me with my partner. There we are. I can feel it. I can see it. I'm excited, but I'm not there yet. So I'm going to be present in my now, knowing that whatever is occurring in my now is preparing me frequency-wise to move me into that version of me. And by me trying to manifest and make my things and like do all these things, that's great, like making your lists and doing all of that, but let it go. The biggest gift and the quickest way into any now moment, any future now, any intentional now, anything is knowing it, staying present, and having excitement and joy for what's coming while you're staying present. That's it, right? So that's how you start to hold these perspectives, and everything will shift in your life. Everything. You'll no longer be a victim. You'll no longer say someone's doing something to me. You'll understand how everyone comes into your life for a purpose and a reason, and they're catalysts. That's why there's triggers, and that's why there's catalysts, and that's why there's soulmates and all these other people, right? Anything and everything. It's designed by you, always. If you're consciously ascending, you know that things are happening much faster, right? It's like, oh my God, things are really shifting. Try not to get into the hamster wheel of, I hate this sucks, I hate this sucks, I hate this sucks, I'm never going to get out, I'm never going to get out, I'm never going to get out. Step out of that and step into the expanded version of you, the quantum you that created this in order to flow you into the next you that you can't see yet. So don't get stuck in it. Open up. Breathe. Let go. Trust. It's not easy, I know. It's not easy, but this is how it works. This is happening right now in every single one of our nows. Whether you believe it, understand it, or are stepping into it. It's the quantum. So if this makes sense, then dive into it. If it doesn't make sense, wait until it does make sense. And if it just doesn't make sense at all and it's never going to make sense, then just drop it and do what you're doing, right? We all have choice. But I encourage you or invite you to try to start to see this perspective from a higher field. Wow, every single one of my nows I created from a lower version of me, or not lower in a bad way, but in a version of me that was in a lower frequency. Wow. What a shift in perspective. And if that's the case, why am I fighting it? And if that's the case, where am I going? Remember, your higher self knows and is prepared to guide you straight into who you've designed yourself to be, completely aligned and expanded in this lifetime. And your higher self is your best friend. It's the aspect of you that's holding your hand, the human hand, the physical 3D personality hand, walking you into exactly what you are designed and ready to do next, and the next, and the next. And of course, then we've got all of the other things that are happening in the body, right? The DNA, the light codes that are held in the strands, they're turning on. You're allowing yourself to receive more of your multidimensionality and the ways in which you experience your multidimensionality, the clairs, clairaudience, clairsentience, clairvoyance, claircognizance, right? Those are turning on. So then there's all these other things that are happening at the same time. But you're not doing anything wrong. You didn't design anything that was messed up or screwed up or I went down the wrong path. There's no such thing as the wrong path. There's no such thing as being veered off the wrong path or getting lost. There's no such thing, you guys. It can feel that way, and by all means honor that and have all the human emotions around it. By God, have all the human emotions around it. But can you also hold where you're going? Even if you don't know how. You're not supposed to know how necessarily. That's not your job. Your job is to be present. Your job is to surrender. Your job is to know that the higher self is doing this. And the more you align and connect to your higher self, the more you open to your higher self, the more you remember it's your higher self that's doing this, the more you form a relationship around your higher self, the easier this becomes, because you know that the ego and personality are not in charge anymore. You know that there's an aspect of you vibrating in a higher frequency that has this all under control. Every day of my life, no matter what I'm going through, I know that it is always for my highest good. Yesterday, I was in bed at 3 p.m. Pajamas, pizza. Like I was eating the gummy worms, gummy bears, Sour Patch Kids. I'm not joking. It was disgusting. I was craving cheese and sugar and my bed. And so what did I do? I gave myself cheese, sugar, and my bed. And I literally napped, watched movies, napped, and ate until 10 o'clock and went to bed. Now, if I didn't understand and know that my higher self is always moving me to the next highest version of me, I may have said, this is wrong. This is bad. You're an ascension teacher. How are you possibly allowing yourself to be in that vibration? Which, by the way, there was nothing wrong with that vibration. My body was tired. My body was craving certain things. And I honored the hell out of it and said, by all means, here you go. Knowing, because I've done this so many times, that there will come a time where perhaps I won't be craving the cheese and the gummy things. I haven't had pizza and those gummy things in a long time. And I sure as heck don't feel like it now, right? But it doesn't mean that there's something wrong with me, that I'm in a lower vibration, or that I'm not moving into the next highest version of me, or what I'm intending, or any of that nonsense. Because what typically happens is that the next day I am recharged and I can feel that I'm in a different aligned state, just meaning that whatever was shed or whatever needed to kind of rattle out of me, it got rattled out of me. Because I know that no matter what, I am always shifting into the next highest version of me. I know that. No doubt in my mind. And when you hold that knowingness, it doesn't matter what you're experiencing. It doesn't matter. It would be like you have $1 million in the bank account, okay, in a checking account, but you get to the store and you try to use your check card, and for some reason the check card isn't working. You can't, it's saying decline, decline. And you're like, well, I know I have $1 million. I have no idea why this is declined. This is very strange. Let me go back home and call the bank and figure it out. And they're like, oh, we had to cancel your card because of this. Oh, okay. You weren't supposed to be shopping, whatever. But you know that you have that $1 million. So you're not freaked out. You're not like, oh my God, I better go get to work. I don't have any money now. If the card says I'm declined, then that means I have no money. No, it just means that there's some hiccup and you just got to relax and figure out what the hiccup is. You know you have that $1 million. It's the same thing. You know you're shifting into the next highest version of you no matter what you're going through. Can you hold that knowingness? Even when the card's being declined. Even when you're sitting in your bed at 3 in the afternoon eating pizza and gummy worms. Can you know that's okay? Because there will be a time where that won't happen. I won't be doing that. So I might as well devour it and just enjoy it and experience it. Because if I were to beat myself up, well, that's a vibration I don't want to feel. If I make it wrong, that's a vibration I don't want to feel. And I have choice and free will, and I'm going to choose not to feel that way. So that's how we do it, you guys, in the quantum. That's how you live in this quantum space. That's how you live in the quantum field. You step out of the 3D, which is control, which is duality, which is right and wrong, which is victimhood. Those are all 3D consciousnesses that are going to hold you in this 3D matrix and field. It's okay if you choose to do it, but it's going to be much more challenging. You might as well start to step into this quantum space every single day. Start to remember that you are multidimensional and that there is no victimhood, there is no duality, there is no right or wrong. You're always shifting frequencies no matter what you're experiencing in your reality, which is another reason why you don't need to shift out of anything. If I tried to shift myself out of what I was experiencing yesterday because people tell me that that's a low vibration, right? That if I feel that way, I just need to think of a different consciousness or energy and then I'll be out of it. That would be an absolute disservice to myself, an absolute disservice. Why would I do that? This morning, I had irritability, right? It was like, oh, I'm feeling really irritable. And I feel that every once in a while. And I because I teach this, I practice this, and I say to myself, okay, there are people that will say to me, you just need to visualize or think about or be a different consciousness, meaning like just move into your heart center and feel joy or feel love. That doesn't resonate with me because that to me feels like I'm dishonoring what I'm experiencing as a human. That feels like me saying, oh shit, I'm afraid of what I'm feeling. I don't like it. It doesn't feel good. I'm going to shift into a version of me that I'd prefer to be. That's duality. That's 3D consciousness at its finest. The quantum would say, wow, look at what you're experiencing right now. It's not who you are, but look who you're experiencing. Look what you're experiencing. Wow. Okay. I'm not going to shift it. I'm not going to do anything with it. I know that it shifts no matter what. Now, there's a difference, and I talk about this all the time, but there is a difference between playing in it and diving into it and doing the rabbit hole. I'm a victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of this, I'm a victim of this, I'm always going to feel this, I'm always going to feel this, I'm a victim, this sucks, I'm a victim, this sucks, as opposed to, wow, look what I'm feeling. You're in flow. Oh, look at what I'm feeling right now. I'm not going to change anything, just look at what I'm feeling. I know it's going to shift. That's different than this sucks, I'm a victim, this sucks, I'm a victim, this sucks, I'm always here, this sucks, how'd this happen, this sucks, I want out, this sucks, that. That's a loop. That's the hamster wheel, right? And I think that is what teachers like to try to pull people out of, right? So you want to be aware of, are you in the hamster wheel? Are you in the 3D consciousness of this sucks duality? The hamster wheel, that loop is duality. This sucks, this isn't good. This sucks, this isn't good. That's duality. You're trying to step out of duality while you're still experiencing something that you're trying not to judge. Judgment is 3D consciousness, right? There's nothing wrong with 3D consciousness, but if you can get aware of it and step into the quantum, being in 3D consciousness is a lot easier. Okay, so you're not trying to escape 3D consciousness. You're trying to be able to move through 3D consciousness with more ease and grace by stepping into the quantum, because in the quantum, you're still in 3D. But when you're experiencing 3D consciousness, can you step into the quantum? No judgment, no attachment, no right or wrong, no shifting. When you're in a quantum space, you're not trying to shift into or out of anything, because the most important part about quantumness is present moment, regardless of what the present moment is presenting you. So when you start to try to move yourself into anything other than what you are, it's because you're afraid of what you're experiencing and you don't like it, which is great. It's just showing you that you're in 3D consciousness. Stepping into the quantum, it's like, oh, this doesn't feel good, but I'm going to allow myself to experience it so that it moves. Irritability was coming out very strong. I was glad that most people didn't talk to me in the yoga class, right? So, and I could feel the irritability when I was answering emails, and I was like, Laura, you shouldn't answer emails right now in that irritable state. I didn't say to myself, shift, find joy, find peace, find love. I didn't do that. I was present with what I was experiencing and going through. And then 3 hours later, I'm out of it. It's shifted out of me. I didn't have to do anything because I didn't get stuck in it. I didn't say, get me out of this. I didn't say, I don't like this. I didn't say, this is me. I didn't say, I'm stuck in this. I'm a victim to this. Who did this to me? Why is this happening? I didn't do any of that. You can't escape 3D consciousness, you guys. You can't escape it. So you're always going to be in it. You might as well step into the quantum and participate with it. You might as well jump in. Right? Start playing this way with it. Start recognizing like, wait, is this me participating in 3D consciousness? Meaning like buying into the paradigms, buying into the shifting out of, focusing on, these higher perspective things. Or is this me being quantum in the 3D consciousness, recognizing that it's all perfect, it's all neutral, it's all designed, there's nothing wrong with it, there's no duality, it's all neutral. There's aspects of me that brought me here, there's aspects of me waiting for me to catch up to it. And all I have to do is surrender to it and know that this is all occurring. Know that it's all occurring. The ego is tricky in this. Because there's a reason that the irritability came up for me this morning. There's a reason that I laid in bed for 17 hours and ate pizza and I couldn't consume gummy worms fast enough. Literally gave myself a stomach ache. Like I was sick to my stomach because now, did I know why? No. Do I care? No. Do I know that it's for my highest good? Yes, I trust that. This is the easiest and fastest way through the ascension process, I'm telling you. Because what happens when you try to shift out of something is that you get stuck in duality and then there's suffering. You forget that there's a much bigger perspective and a much bigger thing that's happening. And you get tunnel vision in 3D. And then you're always going to be stuck in that suffering and struggle because you're always going to be trying to control your own way of being. Oh, this doesn't feel good. I know how to do this. I shift out of it. I know how to do this. I shift out of it. You're controlling it. Just let it be. Because you already are joy. You already are peace. You already are love. You already are all those things. You don't have to go searching for them. If they pop up, great. If they don't, great. Stop trying to control it. There's so much control in this ascension process. When you are in a quantum space, you're not controlling anything. You're flowing through an energetic state of being. You are flowing through an energetic state of being. You're flowing through consciousness. When you try to control it, you're in 3D consciousness, which makes sense because that's where we're standing. But control creates struggle and suffering. And so you're always trying to shift. You're always trying to do something to get out of, to be something. It's tiring. It's exhausting. So we stay present. We know that we're quantum. We know that aspects of us in the past are creating this now. There's aspects in the future that are waiting for us to step into. And we stay present and surrendered in this now. Knowing that we are going somewhere else, meaning we are shifting into a higher version of us, which is already existing, just waiting for us. We intend it, we hold it, we know it. We can create, we can intend, but we don't stay stuck to it. So when I intend, I'm just going to share this quick story and then I'm going to go. I thought this was going to be a short video. It's already almost an hour. When I create something in my life, right? Like healing the issues around my body and a new place to live and financial abundance, right? I might sit down and draw a piece of paper of what it looks like, right? I might write the numbers down. And that helps me get clear on where I'm going, right? It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I can see that. I can feel it, right? I see it. I feel it. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I can't wait. I know that it is an aspect of me that I am tapping into energetically that's already existing. That's the other thing, really quickly. When you start becoming quantum, you are energetically attached to all the other aspects of you, including past lives. So you're connecting to all these versions of you, the past and the future, which are always now. But one you, the conscious person right now, conscious human, is going to be experiencing those aspects of you in a higher frequency, and you, the conscious human, has already experienced the lower frequency versions of you. Okay. And you're tapping into all of it. So when you start intending to manifesting, basically what you're doing is you're tapping into a version of you energetically that you already know exists. And so then you get super excited. You get super duper excited, like, oh my God, I want it now, because you can feel it. You already know that you're doing it, which is why present moment is so important and letting go and control. So I sit and I'll draw a little picture of me doing whatever I'm doing. I have it right here, right? A certain amount of money I want to make, whatever it is. And I know that that is my ego creating it. And I also know that it's my quantum field, that my quantumness tapping into that which I already am. And then what I do is I let it go. I don't do mantras. I don't state things every single day. I just know in my beingness that I already am that. That's it. And then I just get excited throughout my days. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I wonder what it's going to look like. I wonder what it's going to feel like. I wonder when it's going to happen. I don't have any control over it. I'm not controlling a single freaking thing. I'm not trying to make it happen. I'm not trying to create it. Now, you know, when you're trying to shift out of jobs, you've got to go look for jobs, right? I mean, you gotta be realistic around this, right? You don't sit back and just cross your hands and say, well, I'm just going to relax and let my higher self just bring a job to me, or, you know, or do whatever. It's like, sometimes you gotta actually take action. There's always action in every now. So it's a very sarcastic thing to say, well, what about action? Don't you have to take action? You're taking action every day. You have to live. You have to walk. You have to breathe. You have to create. You have to go. You have to do things. So you always are doing. You're always taking action, but you're doing it from a quantum space, which is like, wow, I stay present. I know higher self is moving me, and what's in front of me right now that I can actually do. Holding and knowing where I'm going. And when that opportunity comes in, I take action. When that opportunity comes in, I take action. But I don't have to go scavenger around for it. Where's my next partner? Where's my next partner? Where's my next partner? Get on the dating sites. Get on the dating sites. Go and do these things. That's a state of fear, anxiety, and worry that it's not coming, that you don't deserve it, that you can't have it. Your higher self is already bringing it to you. Just relax. You just stay present, take action when it comes, and hold the intention. I hope this was useful, you guys. It was a really beautiful, clear vision that I got that is really, really useful when we start stepping into the quantum field. And this is what it means. This is how you do it. This is the doing part of being quantum. This is it. It's one thing to like read about it and to understand it. And then it's a whole other ball of wax, or whatever that's called. Ball of wax. Ball of wax. That cannot be the analogy. That cannot be it. It's not ball of wax. But it's a whole other thing when you start to step into that. Because then you really, because everybody will say like, oh, 5D consciousness is present moment, it's flow state, it's surrendering, it's non-duality, it's no victimhood, not victimhood. And yet you'll be stepping out into your world and you'll be saying, why is this happening to me? You'll say like, that's good, that's not that good. You'll say, I shouldn't be feeling these things. So you're still holding yourself in this space that is not you. It's you. It's the eco personality 3D you, but there's a much bigger perspective of you that can walk you through all of this. And we're just learning how to do it. Is it a ball of wax? Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. What is a ball of wax? Tahoe was good. When I got to Tahoe, I was in a great state when I was driving up to Tahoe. When I got to Tahoe, I fell into this funky sort of energy, and then I had to watch myself move through that. And then when I woke up the next day, it was in a different space, but it was nice. It was beautiful. But I live in a really beautiful place also in Mill Valley, so I'm grateful for where I live. Anyway, all right, you guys, it's an old saying, mean the whole enchilada. Right, the whole enchilada. What does that mean? Why wouldn't it be like the whole lasagna or like the whole pizza, but like the whole enchilada? We're gonna do it like you're gonna have the whole enchilada. We could talk about those types of phrases forever, right? The kit and caboodle, right? What does that mean? What does the kit and caboodle mean? Thanks, Amy, for loving the Tahoe video. Yeah, that was great, right? Which reminds me, you guys, I know we're at an hour, but I'm going to do a video because I had a lot of people reach out to me about 4D races and they were confused. And so I'm going to do a live video on how the races, the 4 and 5D races, which are different than these higher dimensional consciousnesses that we call Palladian, Orion, Cassiopeia, right? There are actual races that are forms holding the vibration of the field they're in. So for instance, a 4D race is a 4D being, but it is a being that is not experiencing itself from a higher perspective. It's an actual being in a 4D form. In 4D, its consciousness is 4D. So for instance, we are higher dimensional consciousnesses in a 3D form. We're not a race. We are experiencing ourselves as 3D consciousness because that's what we're in, but we are higher dimensional consciousnesses. The Palladians are not races. They're collective consciousnesses. So they are vibrating in the field that they're existing in. So a Palladian can be existing in a 7th dimensional field. That means that they are experiencing themselves as 7th dimension. They're not a higher perspective or a higher dimension in a Palladian form or a Palladian field, right? They are that which they're vibrating at. See, we are not 3D, right? So a 4D race is a 4D, it's a 4th dimensional form that is holding itself as 4th dimensional consciousness. It knows itself as 4th dimensional consciousness. It's experiencing itself as 4th. It is existing. Its reality is 4th dimension. There's not another aspect of it vibrating higher. And these 4th dimensional and 5th dimensional races, the 4th dimensional races hold both sort of positive kind of experiences and attributes and not so positive. We would consider them like darker types of beings, right? And again, in the quantum, there's no good, bad, right, or wrong. They're just races experiencing their signature. They were designed by higher dimensional consciousnesses so that these races could experience the 5D field when Earth was in a 5D form. They were created by the higher dimensional frequencies like the Orion system. They created many of these, and the Anunnaki created many of these. They didn't create them to create chaos. They created them so that there would be other races on the Earth form that other consciousnesses could be in and participate in, so they didn't have to experience themselves as separate from this experience. So when Earth was in a 5D field, she had 5D forms on her. And the forms were empty until the being, the higher dimensional consciousness, dropped into the form. Once the higher dimensional consciousness dropped into the form, that higher dimensional consciousness began to experience this experiment. Well, these higher dimensional beings were like, I've got a great idea. Let's create and design actual races that are already holding this frequency so that higher dimensional consciousnesses don't have to come in and participate. They can just, these races just are. They just are that 4th dimension and 5th dimensional beingness. So it's a different experience completely. And there are many 4D races that created havoc and chaos, right? But it doesn't mean that Orion and Anunnaki are negative, dark people or beings, right? Every consciousness has free will. Every race has free will. Every race. And however they choose to participate and play in that field is their choice. very similar to 3D consciousness, right? Every human standing here, every form, I should say, 3D form, is playing in 3D consciousness. And they have a choice as to what they want to participate and play in, right? Some of us are choosing to play in greed and chaos and murder and rape, whether they consciously know that it's a choice or not. Everything is a choice. And there's many 3D human forms that are participating in and change and love and help and assistance and abundance and all these other things. It's the same thing with 4D races, right? There's just a lot of them that did some massive destructive, chaotic stuff during the ascension process, right? So anyways, it's a really beautiful story. It's really magical. It's really amazing. And again, like 4D races and 5D races were designed the same way that you intend and design your reality, intention and energy. And because we're so dense, it's very hard to understand this. How the freak can you create a race just out of energy and intent? That's how everything's designed. Our human form, the human form was not designed through evolution, you know, like you came from the algae in the river or whatever they say, you know, in history in school. All these forms were created by higher dimensional consciousnesses in the Galactic Federation of Light through intent and energy. You intend it, you see it, you know it, you find the frequency that it's going to be held at, you merge those two over and over and over again, sort of in a now moment, and then boom, it becomes a reality in whatever dimension you're creating it in. And the hybridization program is very similar to this as well, which I will not go into right now. But the hybridization program is the same sort of thing but it's a little bit more physical because they did take different DNAs and they merged those DNAs to create races. The hybridization program created races, but in a lower vibration. So they used actual light codes in different forms of DNA to create different types of breeds of consciousness, literally physical forms. Anyway, that's a short rendition of a video I'll do. So yeah, animals, trees, plants, dragons, fairies, because those dragons and fairies and mermaids and all of those, they were designed in 5D as physicality, because in 5D you still had physical form. But the reason that you can't see mermaids and dragons and fairies and gnomes and things like that in 3D is because they have held themselves in 5D consciousness. So they can't be seen yet. Right? But everything you see, I mean, you can eat, I mean, it goes back even to like, you know, God created everything. You know, it depends on what I mean, God, if you look at God in terms of source, sure, source created everything because the higher dimensional beings that were working with Earth, which is a consciousness, created all of this. But this wasn't created by God or source. It was created by higher dimensional beings with the consciousness that is Earth. Right? Earth was a consciousness. Earth is a consciousness. Just like you are a consciousness inside a form, Earth is a consciousness inside this planet or this plane. This was all designed for her experiment, whether you understand that or not. So, and this is just one experiment. The universe, the galaxies, the planets, the stars, the everything in your world that ever is, was, and will be in your world, all the light years, millions of light years, all that nonsense of light years away, all designed for this Earth experiment. And there's an infinite amount of experiences and experiments and so on happening in this now moment in another quantum space. And you all remember dropping into this experiment because you all did. All right, you guys. Yeah, we're not making anything up. I'm going to go. I love you all. I really honestly thought this was going to be like a 20-minute video. But I enjoy being with you guys. So, and I was procrastinating editing my book as well. Let's be honest. I did not want to edit my book. If you guys know of an editor, or if you're an editor, I am looking for somebody to assist me in editing my book, because I'm sending it to Dolores Cannon's publishing company and Ozark Publishing, and I need to clean it up before I send it, which is what I'm doing right now. So if anybody knows of an editor that kind of is in this field, that knows this kind of stuff, it's pretty complex, the book, but I would appreciate it. You can reach out to me and just email me at contact@loriladd.com, or you can just leave a message here as well. But yeah, I could use a little help, I think. Just a once over, you know. Amber, you're an editor? Email me. All right, you guys. I love you. I hope this was helpful and useful. I will see you next time I go live, or you can join my Patreon community. I'm doing a live Q&A on my Patreon community on Monday at 3 p.m. It's going to be an hour. Okay. I will leave. Parker, you just caught it. Well, 1 minute, 1 hour and 11 minutes, you caught it. Click the little bell next to the subscribe and you'll get notified. Okay. I'm getting cold. I love you guys. Be gentle with yourselves. Give yourself a big squeeze, a big hug. You're here for a reason. Don't forget that. And you're doing it. And remember, it's quantum. It's all quantum. It's always quantum. I love you. I'll talk to you. I won't talk to you. I'll see you next time I go live. Mwah. Bye.